Hi, I'm Mike Bush. I want to acknowledge Commissioner Peter Marshall and his leadership over the last 3 years.
We're not perfect. We do make mistakes.
Peter's set the bar extremely high. One of the reasons our results are so good is because of the high levels of public trust and confidence.
We're going to try the media contacts again. Spoke to Kim on Friday. G'day Gareth, how are you? Awesome, awesome. My name's Mark.
How you doing?
Good. I'm trying to inquire as to how I could find out the name and station of a particular officer. CP89 is the only details I have of the man.
Right.
He identified himself from Mount Wellington at the time, although after the last 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks of attempting to get Mount Wellington to tell me who he is, they are not willing to. They are just saying that he is not from Mount Wellington, which now poses a problem, as if he's identified himself as from Mount Wellington and then they're saying he's not from here, someone's telling a fib.
So, what were the circumstances when you met him or talked?
It was through a video on YouTube that I'd watched. The man had obstructed I suppose roving reporter, a man of 25 years experience out there recording stuff. He was in public recording an accident, and the officer obstructed him, pushed him around the corner behind a fence, made up false allegations, called him a wally, just totally disrespected the guy. There was even an order over the RT for the officer to stand down, which he ignored. So these are things that, besides the point of whether or not the man himself wants to file an IPCA against the officer doing what he did, as a member of public, I want to make sure that that officer doesn't do that again and incur some sort of legal battle to the police.
Okay.
And also I want to hold him accountable. I mean, I've got much information about recording in public I'd like to make sure he's aware of.
So have you made any communication with the police in writing yet?
Yeah, I've been in email with Senior Sergeant Steve Samuels of Mount Wellington Police now over the last 2 weeks. I initially rung up Mount Wellington 3 weeks ago and spoke to, well, after a bit of phone calls and, you know, as you do, get shunted around the place, I ended up at Mount Wellington and spoke to Steve Samuels then. After probably a 20-minute conversation with him, he said that we should meet up and have a face-to-face. So I gave him my details. He said he'd be in contact in the next couple of days once he'd checked his, his schedule and when he could arrange a time. 2 weeks or 17 odd days went by. I'd heard nothing. So I went in with a couple of copies of the information I had in regards to recording in public into Mount Wellington, dropped it off in triplicate to him for CP89 and for Steve and also for the general staff to peruse.
This is a male officer, is it?
Yeah. And since that point I got an email from Steve Samuels thanking me for the information. He then said that in light of more information that he had got, well, actually he didn't thank me for anything I dropped off. He didn't even acknowledge the fact that I dropped him off anything. He just said that in light of new information, the officer was not from his station, was not under his supervisor, and that was that. So I then replied back and asked him many questions, a few of them being, perhaps you could be so kind as to supply me the information I require then, such as who he is and what station and who his supervisor is, so I can pursue the matter. He's not been willing to do so. I sent him another chase-up email this morning, and he's responded to just with the whole, "Sir, this matter has been resolved, you've got nothing to do with it." Well, I'm not interested in the actual matter of what Jeff Mackley had done to him by CP89 on the side of the road back in 19th of May. I'm interested in the fact that that officer needs to be re-educated, trained correctly, so he doesn't obstruct and trespass some other member of public who's doing perfectly lawful and legal actions. Do you get where I'm coming from? You know, I mean, you only need to look at Wright v Boesdale at the start of 2016, where a lawyer got 14k because a cop put his arm out and obstructed him. You know, and I'm not paying for the police's stupidity. If they can be re-educated by me, or you know, I don't wish to go through IPCA if I can avoid it, because I've found good and bad results from them in the past, and Sir David Carruthers only seems to worry about the money aspect of it. So.
Okay. Well, so you mentioned in your conversation about, you know, pass from post to post, so
Yeah.
the media centre.
Yeah, I know, and it's because really it's short of ringing Mount Wellington and getting probably hung up on or a cold shoulder. I'm just going to start ringing individual police stations, and I mean, I'm not one, I have the tenacity to keep going. I don't get bobbed off. I will just keep going and going. It's only a simple couple of questions. Who is he? Where's he from? And what's his supervisor's name? That's all I want, and I will take it from there with that individual.
Yeah.
You know, all I'm wanting to do is giving him perfectly public information about recording, so he doesn't do. Yeah, I mean, a lady was walking past him on the street, and he said that he needed consent from that lady walking in a public street to photograph her and video record her. He shielded her from the camera and made it out like Jeff was doing something wrong. He's standing in public with a video camera, something I have done thousands of times. There's no expectation of privacy in public unless you're in a changing room or a public toilet. So, you know, it's real simple. I'm only trying to help, and I'm getting stonewalled at the moment. Everything I do gets posted on YouTube. I hold a channel, and it's up to the general public to view it and make their own decisions as to whether or not the New Zealand police want to act properly, or as it appears, shield one of their own. Because that's all that's happening here. I'm not after a manhunt or anything. I just want to make sure that guy's corrected, because what he did was appalling. It's on YouTube. Look it up. Type in CP89. It'll come up straight away. Jeff Mackley's the guy's name.
Do you want to make anything in writing today, or?
Well, I mean, I've just replied again back to Steve in writing. I've told him failure to reply in 3 days will constitute a tacit agreement that he's quite happy to hide that officer's identity and obstruct accountability. And whether or not he chooses to respond to that, that's up to him. You know, ball's back in his court, and I don't like playing games. I'd much rather just go, can I have a question answered, get it answered, and move forward. It shouldn't take me 3.5 weeks to find out an officer's name. Do you know the correct procedure that I can take to find out this officer's identity? How would a general member of the public find out who a cop is?
I don't know the answer.
Is there a procedure to find out?
There must be.
There must be. I mean, I spoke to Kim at your media thing there on Friday. She took my number and said she'd get back to me, and I've had no response from her. So.
Did you say Kim?
Kim, yeah.
Kim, okay. Alright, well, first thing I'll do is talk to her.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, she said that you needed 6 numbers on the appellate, you know, like for instance, Neil Francis Waterbottom is NFW030 of Walkworth, 6 Falls Road. You know, it's real simple, but the officer only had CP89 on his collar. That's how he identified himself, and he said that he was from a station that doesn't appear to know him or want to identify him.
And,
sounds bad, doesn't it?
Can I take your number?
Sure, of course you can. Cell phone number is.
And what's your surname?
Oh, I'm of the family Mark. Of the family Keen, K-E-E-N.
Okay. Very good. Okay, well, the first thing I'll do is just go through to Kim and see what she's done with your inquiry. And we'll come back to you.
That would be awesome, Gareth. I appreciate it, eh?
Okay.
You have a good day, mate.
You too. Thanks for that.
See ya.
Bye.
One of the reasons our results are so good is because of the high levels of public trust and confidence